This is the Global Broadcasting Service, serving remote outposts since 1928.
Hi, everyone. Welcome aboard the Walt Disney World Express monorail.
Caramba, we have something really big for you today.
Welcome, foolish mortals.
Now then, hang on to them hats and glasses, because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
This is the DBC Pod with Phil Schoen and Jason Dodge. Hi, friends. Welcome to this week's pod. This is for the week of October 20th, 2025. And this is what's going on in our Disney World. On this show today, we're going to talk about REMY going from a 3D to a 2D show or ride. And it's happening relatively quickly. It's happening, I think, right in the middle of your stay coming up next month.
Yeah.
3 days after.
That we had some interesting conversations in the house today and how this might impact things.
We are going to talk about your initial trip plans also later in the
Yes.
show, where you actually going to venture into the world of hoppers. And I am going to guess that you will never, ever look back, and you will have hoppers for every trip moving forward, unless you get a ticket deal that aren't hoppers.
Right,
So
sure.
that'll be the only caveat to that. We're going to talk about some Universal testing different individual express passes, mimicking what Disney is doing. The return of DBC Recommends, which we'll have that at the top of the show. And we don't have a lot of construction updates, but we also have a lot of construction updates. So BioReconstruct pumped out a lot of great quality pictures. We're going to be talking about a couple of those individually, but a lot of work being done in some of those specific sites. But before we start, shout out to a couple YouTube subscribers that just joined: Thomas Carlson, VYX Visa, and Jose Rodriguez. Thank you for joining. We just started pumping out for the last couple of weeks tons of YouTube shorts, and that's really helping us reach a new audience. So for those that are watching and happen to be new, please give us a like and a subscribe on YouTube. It really helps out the channel. And if you don't mind, leave a comment below with what other kind of topics you like us to cover. I never asked that before because I think we satisfy everybody's conversation, but maybe we're not covering something for somebody. That being said, Phil, let's get started. What is our DBC recommend of the week?
Yeah, so there were a few things that came up this week. I think we're going to hit one this week, one next week, that weren't really like news items, but they were interesting. And I thought it would make sense to kind of make sure everyone who hasn't seen it yet maybe checks it out. So the one I wanted to talk about today is that Blog Mickey put out an article where Mike on there is sort of taking an overlay of the water management permits that were just filed for the area. I guess it's for like 33 acres of area in the northwest corner of the Magic Kingdom, basically for all the work being done on Frontierland and beyond. And I thought it was just like kind of an interesting concept. Obviously, it's a lot of very broad speculation. Please do not take any of this as fact or anything like that. But basically what his theory is that where there's sort of drainage lines, those need to have access to them. And so they're probably things like walking paths and things like that. They're not going to have major structure on top of them. And if you look at other areas of the parks, that kind of holds true. So his thought process is where there are drainage lines, that's where there's going to be walking paths or entrance ways and stuff like that into both Piston Peak and also into Villains Land eventually. So I just thought it was kind of an interesting concept. He goes through the whole thing and he kind of does the overlay. So what we already knew, there was going to be like a big walkway that sort of goes from the Haunted Mansion over towards Big Thunder Mountain. And it looks like then there'll be like one major way into Piston Peak, which matches up with the illustration.
Let's start there, right?
Yeah.
So you got to go on Blog Mickey, find the article. It's been posted all over the place on Twitter last week, so it's hard to miss. However, there's some drainage lines. So there's a drainage line that starts kind of like halfway between the entrance for the Liberty Bell and where Haunted Mansion entrance is, and it goes basically straight out to like just beyond like the bridge on Tom Sawyer's Island, right?
Yep.
And there's a little leg to kind of go into the middle of where Piston Peak's going to go, and then continues kind of north through the island and then over the river and literally through the woods, and then kind of spiders out, right? So again, I'm a big proponent of this article, just kind of reaching, right? Like everybody's getting excited. Our friend Matt was like, put a little bit more. He was standoffish. I'm not saying he's totally bought in. My thing is there's like retaining ponds in the back, and a lot of this drainage seems to be just getting the water out of this area and away from the park.
Which we know is a big part of
Yes.
this, and what Disney had to get all these sign-offs for, because whenever you're basically removing a body of water, which they are with Rivers of America, you really need approval and confidence on, well, where's all this water going to go and that sort of thing. So yeah, a lot of it is getting the water from these areas to the retaining pond that's kind of now going to be in the northwest side beyond the berm of Magic Kingdom.
Right. Like there's one leg, like I explained before, kind of goes across the Piston Peak area to where like Villains Land is supposedly going that we're thinking about right now. And to me, it's just infrastructure that's going out. Now, one of the things I find interesting is that I will lend credence to is that at the very top, still within the berm, inside the train tracks, there is a long leg that kind of sprints out to the east, right? Assuming that, Cinderella's castle is like due north, right? So kind of going east, and it kind of ends like, I don't know. I would say about like 200 yards. I'm not measuring this right now, but about 200 yards behind the Haunted Mansion building.
Yeah.
Kind of like where the Rivers of America kind of turns back around to kind of come back to its dock all the way in the north. And that might be like where building and infrastructure is going to go because it's not connecting to any other retention ponds or anything else like that. So a lot of speculation is, it's going to get tucked in behind the Villains Lane is going to be tucked behind the Haunted Mansion and the Small World buildings.
Yep.
So I think this is kind of infrastructure. I wouldn't be surprised if more is added to that later on. Did they make a note? And I didn't do my homework. Did they make a note how big these drain lines are at all? Is it just like lines?
He didn't get into that to know like how much it would flow and stuff like that. Just that these are the lines that are through here.
See, I should have went in and take a look at the permits because I did a kind of looking at like where all the laydown yards are going to be, 6 months ago or something like that. This to me, I think this is very interesting. Do you hold any credence to this? Do you think it's believable what he's saying, or is it just basically infrastructure they're putting into place and we're not getting anything beyond the railroad tracks?
I think
that's the big thing, right?
Yeah, I think the big things. I think for the most part it makes sense, right? These also line up, especially the part for Piston Peak. That definitely lines up with what the latest concept art was, where it seems like there was going to be one way in and kind of to the to the main attraction and stuff. Where I think he maybe gets a little fanciful is when he tries to relay it to the concept art for Villains Land, which is super vague and could be anything. And even he in the article says, I'm like doing wild speculation here, but he's saying like, okay, it comes in where you can kind of see a roller coaster in the concept art and maybe it goes over the walkway. And so like, I think that gets way too kind of like
that's
fanciful.
Imaginative. I mean, like it's fun exercise.
Oh yeah. It's fun armchair imagineering for sure. But I think the idea of like having that big walkway that connects from Haunted Mansion over to Big Thunder, and then you're going to have this major walkway through the woods, like you said, into Villains Land. I think that's probably what we're going to wind up getting. I know Matt was speculating that it shows that there's going to be a train station. I didn't read anything about that in the article. No. I do think that would add something to Villains Land for sure, but I don't know. Obviously the big thing is, excuse me, is there stuff actually beyond the train? The train, are they going to have to extend the berm and stuff like that? I don't know if you can buy that from this.
No, I mean, the only thing is
speculation,
because we've seen some other permits where they have this whole large water management infrastructure that are in place beyond this, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is just attaching. Like this might be just drainage lines that are not the only drainage lines, but like the larger like cement drain lines that are like 2 feet in diameter, having a large volume of water being able to pass through, and not like other kind of sewage and drainage. Because there's going to be bathrooms back here. It's not even showing that kind of infrastructure.
Sure, no. This
is
just the big ones, right? That they need. They'll have manhole covers and stuff to get into and stuff.
So I think this is just kind of infrastructure that's needed anyway. I don't think they're going to be building anything beyond the railroad tracks, at least with the Villains Land build, until 6-10 years from now.
And that was the other thing that was kind of interesting about this, is that to the west of the train, kind of really truly beyond Big Thunder, there is also some drainage lines out there. But again, I think that's just for infrastructure and kind of for getting water maintenance in that area where the laydown yards are. I wouldn't jump the gun thinking that there's going to be something built there in the near future because of this permit.
I mean, all that, there's nothing but flat land that's right there right now. Yeah. Like the picture that they're using is still wooded at that area, but right now that's all flattened at this point. And I think there might be buildings back there. I forget where they kind of line up. So if you go to, we'll talk about this later, but Bio Reconstruct put out some really great pictures, and you can kind of see that in a couple different angles. But I didn't go far as trying to line those up with this. But the only thing I like about Blog Mickey's post is like their big blue building fits perfectly back there as far as like drainage, and that's where everybody's kind of speculating. So that was kind of an easy one. Yeah. But it's a good thought experiment. And it also teaches you what kind of infrastructure is going in place as they kind of build these areas, which is stuff I like to kind of sink my teeth into. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and I'm kind of just one of those people, like, whether you're sad or not that the Rivers of America is going away, it's going away, and they're doing the work. And like, let's rip the Band-Aid and let's get excited about what's coming. And this is getting excited. This is people being excited and wanting to see what it's going to look like in the future. So it's like more of a positive take on things. So that's why I'm a fan of it.
This is the first major construction after like the COVID stuff, right? Like
Yeah.
there's really not like Galaxy's Edge was like the last thing that was a land that was built,
Yeah.
right? With any kind of major,
but after
process.
that, it was individual attractions, not a land.
Right. And one of them being Tron, and we were used to like seeing that go at a crawl. Like they're moving quickly. And I think I posted this somewhere. I'm like, I love seeing how fast that they're moving. I just don't have to like they clear it and then it just sits there for like 6 months and then they start like kind of like the Encanto where they cleared it and then it sat there for a while and now it's going up. So I'm looking forward to seeing the progress, and hopefully Bio can keep us updated with all these flyovers
I'm sure
that they're doing.
Yeah. Okay, so that was the DBC recommends. I will make sure to tweet that out for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, but it's just a fun thought exercise, and I appreciate the effort Mike went through with that. Getting into actual news items, the one that came out today. Well, first, just breaking news, I guess. Spaceship Earth has a soft opening that started yesterday and today, so it was scheduled to open on the 25th. But if you happen to be there now, you can try to go
Hop on.
It seems that there's not a lot of updates that were made to it, although Drew, the Disney dude, did point out that on the Phoenician scene, the boat is actually rocking back and forth, that nobody can remember the last time that effect was actually working. So they did do little things like that, and it looks like it's just cleaned up and stuff like that. We'll have to see if this was part of like prepping for a larger redo or if it was just kind of maintenance. There are no new screens or anything like that on the vehicles or anything like that, so it's basically the exact same ride as before, just they did the maintenance on it.
Some people are speculating, and we have no way of knowing at all. But this was to clean up a couple things, but also kind of get a status quo on everything, so that when it does go down, probably within the next year or three, for like a big update, like now they have a laundry list of things that they need to do and get parts and get plans for doing all that.
And
stuff.
even I'm sure they could even do like updated 3D maps and stuff up there for their computer systems to know if they're going to be changing scenes and doing like kind of a bigger retheme and stuff like that. So they could have been doing some of that prep as well.
The newsboy is still in the corner though.
Yes, he is still facing the wall, and extra the Spaceship Earth updated, and I'm still staring at the wall.
Yes.
But the actual first news item I was going to talk about is that Remy's Ratatouille, they kind of out of nowhere, although this was announced to be happening in Paris, but they hadn't said anything about it in the US. But Remy's Ratatouille Adventure will be closing. The first day down will be November 10th, so only in a couple weeks. It's only going to be down for 3 days, November 10th through the 13th. And the reason they're closing it is that it will be, when it comes back up, it will return with enhanced digital visuals and a clear imagery projected in 2D. So you'll no longer be wearing glasses, 3D glasses when you ride on the ride. It will be a 2D, but I guess it'll have some of those sort of effects that maybe kind of make it look like it's 3D, but it's still going to be 2D with no glasses. They also said that Remy fans will spot new props and lighting enhancements when they are added to the queue and the attraction over the next few months. So it sounds like they're only closing it for a few days to do whatever they need to do to kind of the projection system and stuff like that. But then they'll be adding additional sort of physical props and sets over the next few months to kind of answer, which is kind of fun that the ride will be going down, and great for all the vloggers that every couple of days there'll be like breaking news, new thing added to Remy's.
There's a
queue
new
or
piece
whatever,
of cheese added to the kitchen or the kitchen scene or whatever, the refrigerator scene. Now here's before we start actually let's start talking about this, because your initial question was are you supportive of dropping the 3D? So like you were supposed to ask me, but I'm going to ask you, Phil, and since you're going to be seeing the 3D for the last time when you go down there, if you happen to get on, what do you think about this?
So overall, I'm okay with it, because this one, well, I like the ride. The 3D never worked the best. I have to say, since I wear glasses, having 3D glasses over my glasses isn't always the best. I've heard quite a few people say they get sick from the motion sickness from having the 3D glasses. I think there's a difference between like 3D on a ride where you're moving versus like PhilharMagic where you're just sitting there and watching through the glasses. So
Or
I think if
Passage,
it's
right?
or something like that where you're more or less in one spot. So I'm all for it, especially if it's going to be updated with clear imagery. I like that they're adding more physical sets and stuff like that. So overall, I'm for it. Apparently, some people don't like it. I saw Alicia Stella posting a few times that apparently she gave the details. She has some astigmatism in her eyes that makes her normal vision very flat. So, like, if she's just looking at something, it looks almost like a postcard. Whereas when she watches something in 3D, it almost makes it look like how we see normal things. So she wants as many 3D things as possible. So she's kind of bummed, and she's kind of like, why am I the only one bummed about this? And then she kind of realized, wait, I have this astigmatism that not everyone else has.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of interesting that, like, there's so many different people and everyone is an individual and has different situations. So, you know, you're never going to make everybody happy, but I think overall I'd rather have a really good thing in 2D than kind of a so-so 3D effect-ish thing. So
normally I don't care about things like this because I'm like, okay, well, now we're doing something different and I'm going to enjoy a different experience the next time I get on this ride, right? Because I don't think ultimately, and for me personally, I don't think this impacts the ride too much. Like the 3D effects weren't like amazing, right? They weren't like, this is an amazing part. Like all the good parts were like, you know, going into like the freezer or the refrigerator, right? That was a really cool effect because it had live props, like running away and having like the heat on top of you.
Exactly. Those were the best parts of it, were the more physical nature things. Yeah, for sure.
But like when you go, the first scene where you go in and he kind of thinks about like, what am I going to make? This, that, or the other. Oh, Ratatouille. Like that whole thing is just kind of gimmicky a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of 3D rides unless they're completely immersive, kind of like Flight of Passage. That's like the only one I'm like really excited for, like the 3D experience.
Sure.
You know, Star Tour, sure, because it is what it is. But like this, I'm kind of happy for that. 2, I hate wearing 3D glasses. They like skeeve me out, even because everybody's constantly. I know they clean them. I know they go through a whole process of sanitizing them. But if you get a really bad pair of glasses, like it can kind of ruin the experience. I know that it doesn't really work very well also in some instances, like you brought up. So I'm happy to see something else. And anytime they add more props, more better lighting and everything else like that, hopefully they'll fill in some of those big, broader screens, screen scenes where with other things kind of in front of it to add kind of depth to it. I think that's what they're aiming to do. Because those 2 big scenes, like the grand finale scene, I guess there's one other scene too. Is there 3 scenes where you have the big giant screen in front of you? Or is there,
there's like the one where you're racing through the restaurant and stuff like that?
Yeah, that one. You have the intro, the first scene, and then you have the last scene, right? Is there 3? Am I remembering that correctly? The more that becomes more of a, with physical props, kind of give the screens depth in front of it, I think that's going to like look really awesome. Because granted, like that's what's missing from Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway, but they do it without the glasses with the 3D effects because you get up close to the screen. I think I'm personally excited about this because I think the ride's going to be better because of it.
Yep. I agree.
I do have one other point though, Phil, about this. So now we're getting the update to Frozen Ever After. We're getting the update to Remy, right? There's teases of potentially updating Spaceship Earth at some point in the next whatever amount of years, right? Goes down to do a revitalization of that. You've got Test Track that just obviously came up with 3.0, Guardians of the Galaxy, which is a major hit. Are we seeing just like a slow play of like updating all the attractions at Epcot and like we're going to go through the rounds and then they're going to finally announce like Journey and Imagination and Soarin' getting updated because that building is really needs some TLC, I think. Are we seeing like, do you think that they're slowly updating everything at Epcot for a much larger update to come down the road? Or is this like they're just finally doing what they're supposed to be doing?
I think it's more the latter, and also just because it's the one park that doesn't have a big construction project going on now. So I think it's like we're still giving Epcot some love. There's still some reason to check it out, you know, if you're there for the rides and stuff like that. I do think it's kind of to bide some time for when the other parks are maybe done with their work, and then they can do something major like Imagination or the Wonders of Life Pavilion or something like that. So some of it's kind of buying them time until they do something major. But I think the big thing is just to keep kind of giving Epcot some love while the other parks have the big construction going on.
Yeah, I mean, like, but like the Frozen Ever After thing and the Remy updates, those aren't for a larger audience. Those are for just basically park nerds, like us that follow the news. Like the average person once a year, once every 2 years that is not on the internet studying Disney, they're not going to even remember the difference from the last time they saw it. Type of thing, I think, right? Test Track is something they can advertise because it's a brand new attraction. So I'm just wondering if this is just like catching up on maintenance and changes. And
some of it might be that.
Things,
I mean, especially this Remy one might be like that. It's something they've wanted to do for a while and they finally have a chance to do it.
I don't know. To me, there's like there's a very small chance that there's something going on for Epcot where they're slowly getting all these things out of the way. So when they do the big thing, it's not like, okay, now we have 5 things down and we're fixing
Oh, I think that
like,
that certainly
giving
makes
them
sense,
space,
right?
right?
Yeah, like giving them updated and so that they don't need to be touched. They're kind of running at high level,
Yeah.
so that they can take something else down for sure.
I think we got something else there. So we got a bunch of stuff from Universal. So what did you find this week?
Yeah, so a couple things from Universal. The first thing was at Universal Studios in Orlando, they have been testing out single attraction Express Pass. They started so far for 2 rides. One is Revenge of the Mummy, and one is Skull Island Reign of Kong. And their pricing, I guess it can vary, but when the sign was up, is $25 a person per ride. And basically it just had a placard out front with a QR code on that you scan your QR code, you purchase it in the app, and then you can go in. So right now, typically Universal just has their Unlimited Express with either one time per ride or unlimited rides as you want. It comes included if you stay at the 3 premier hotels. But otherwise, you kind of just have to spend a couple $100s or whatever it is that day to get Express Pass. There isn't like the individual rides like at Disney. So it's interesting they're testing this out. It's interesting the initial reaction from everybody is like, why these 2 rides, and who would spend $25 to ride these 2 rides? They're not, they're not new rides. They're not, it's not like getting on Hagrid's or something like that. But it just seems to be they're testing it out. So I don't know. I was having some conversations back and forth with some people as to like sort of what the reasoning behind it was. But I don't know, Jason, did you see this? And did you have any reaction?
I mean, I see it like in the news feed. I don't have any. I'm not a Universal fan, so I'm not having like strong reactions to it.
Sure.
At all. I just find it interesting how both companies kind of do things and like who does what versus like who copies or mimics. So I have a couple different thoughts. I think the reason why they have these 2 attractions that are quote unquote lesser attractions, I guess.
Yeah.
It's okay. Are these price points proper, right? Like, are people going to pay for this? Since they're not the busiest attractions in the park, like if something gets screwed up, like they're not messing up the express lane for like any of the Harry Potter stuff or whatever,
yeah.
right? So, and they can say like, is this too much or is it not enough? How many people are doing it? So I think it's really cool. What I really like about this is that you have to walk up, I'm assuming, and scan the QR code to get it. It's not like you're booking this the morning of or whatever. Like it's like an old fast pass paper thing. Like you have to be there to get it. I really like this. And I wish Disney would do something like this rather than like planning everything on your app. Like you walk up and you scan and you go on. I think multi-pass should work this way. Not single passes. I'm okay with like scheduling it in advance, so you're making that big purchase. But I would really love for you to be able to walk up to attraction and maybe you have the multi-pass where you can do it. Or what I thought Lightning Lane should be all over the place is you walk up and you scan it and you can spend the $2, $5, whatever you want to charge for like pirates and teacups and, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, right? Like, I think these should be individual type of things as well. So I'm curious if this works and if Disney decides to expand or differentiate their Lightning Lane product, but I doubt that though.
Yeah. So from what I saw talking back and forth with some people, including Scott, was that, he thinks they are using these like kind of lesser attractions as a testing ground. Mm-hmm. Like you said, they didn't want to do it on something super popular and overwhelm that ride and that sort of thing. Did also make me think that these express lanes on these rides mustn't be very popular. Like people mustn't really be using it and that there's availability in these queues for people to use it. I did also wonder if maybe I haven't really heard much about Universal's hotel capacity. Are those premier hotels maybe running a little low and now not as many people have Express? So that's one reason why there's availability to supplement that with individual Express usage.
I mean, I think Universal is exploring ways to capture more money for sure, obviously. If there was less Express Pass available usage, right? They have a lot of inventory. I would imagine that they would run like a promo or something else like that. Get like annual pass holders can get it at 50% off or, buy 3 days worth of tickets, get Express Pass at like Universal does a lot of things like that. So I don't think it has to do anything with the hotel occupancy. But I think they're looking to see if they can capture more revenue for sure. Yeah. I think that's what we're ultimately going.
Somebody also wrote back to me, and it kind of reminded me with the Disney and the dining plan, but basically by putting this sign out and saying Express Pass for Kong is worth $25, that kind of makes you think. It's like, oh, well, if that's worth $25 and I'm only paying X for unlimited, it makes that feel more worth it, or it makes feel staying at the premier hotels and getting express like more worth it. It's like, oh,
Sure.
if that's 25, like what would this other one be? And I'm getting them all for $150 or whatever, like kind of just like reminding people how much like
Yeah.
each use of it is. That's why it kind of made me feel like with the dining plans, like they keep raising the prices of the food so that they can say the dining plan looks great because you're getting higher things covered.
Sure. I mean,
and
that's
stuff like
always
that.
a thing,
Yeah.
right? And so
So just
everybody's
something
always
like
going to
that.
play the market value of things for sure.
Yep. Next Universal news item is that they revealed the land names for the upcoming kids resort. So the Universal Kids, which is going to be in Frisco, Texas, and is aimed at families with young kids. It will feature 7 lands, and they have the names of Shrek's Swamp, Puss in Boots Del Mar, Minions versus Minions Bellow Bay Club, Jurassic World Adventure Camp, Trolls Fest, SpongeBob SquarePants Bikini Bottom, and Isle of Curiosity. So I think we all knew like what the IP and stuff like that was going to be kind of featured here. Now we just have the names, and it's kind of like more concept art and stuff like that for what things are going to be looking at. It just made me think like, do we think this park is going to be successful, or what are your overall thoughts on this park?
I mean, it really depends on people's need to go down to somewhere in Texas. I think that this seems like it's going to be more of a regional vibe.
That's
to
what
it,
I'm kind of
right?
wondering. Like, is it going to be a regional park? And if so, if that's their goals, I think it'll be a successful regional park. But does the Universal name and these IP, is that enough to get a family with young kids to travel from New York to Frisco, Texas?
I don't know, like the Jurassic World Adventure Camp is a pretty cool cartoon. I've seen that
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, my kids enjoy that.
My son loves Minions. Like, that would be really fun. My daughters used to like Trolls a lot. It's kind of faded in interest versus other things. But when the movie was out and for like a year or two out, they were loving singing the songs and doing all that type of stuff with the movies. I don't know if SpongeBob has any cultural relevance to children anymore, but there's a lot of millennials out there that love SpongeBob. So maybe they're having kids now, and it's it's a draw potentially. I've seen Universal do small lands in Florida, and they've kind of looked pretty lame, right? So I don't know if it's just they didn't have money to do it and whatever. They just kind of put a fresh coat of paint on things
for kids,
right?
IP.
Yeah. And it depends. Like, is each place going to have like 2 attractions to it? So this place has 15 attractions. Like, it's got to be enough to go there and have a full day's worth of attractions, especially if they're kids attractions. You stay online for 30 minutes. You do kind of a water ride or like a dark ride, or who knows? I mean, I don't know too much.
It's from the concept art there. I don't know if they've announced all the rides. There's been some concept art. There's definitely a few roller coasters. There's definitely a few water rides. There's some like kind of play areas, like kind of climbing kind of areas, like exploration type areas. So they've shown those. I'm not sure if there's any like kind of true traditional dark rides. I would be surprised if there's none, but I haven't seen those featured.
Yeah. When I travel there, probably only because that's where my sister lives. So it's pretty. But like, assuming that not like, there's really not much else to do around that area. So why am I traveling to go? Like, is there enough for 2 days in this park where we could do like a weekend out of it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Especially for small kids, right? Like, you could go into like drive up to like Dallas and as an adult, right? And you kind of explore restaurants and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of museums and stuff like that, but I don't know about for kids.
But like families with kids under 10, which is basically, it looks like the target audience for that. I wouldn't travel there if that unless there was something else, unless there was so much that you could get 2 full days out of. Because this has me thinking of like what Hershey has, like, and they have a lot. I mean, they don't have any IP, and there's a lot of just like spinner rides and amusement park rides there, right? But like, even if they had that quantity, it's still not a full day's worth of fun, I guess. Yeah. But what about you? I mean, like, is this something you would travel for?
It's tough because I feel like my kids have aged out. So, if this was 5-7 years ago and my kids were the prime age, like maybe we would consider it. Especially because they definitely were into Minions and Jurassic World and stuff like that. And my daughter was
depends on
the
Trolls. Cost too, right?
Yeah, it depends on the cost. I don't think the tickets would be so prohibitive. It'd be more the travel getting there and stuff. And like you said, what else would we do? I can't imagine flying to Texas to do this for like 1 day and then fly back, right? So it'd have to be part of like a larger vacation. There's obviously a lot to do in Texas. It's a huge state and stuff like that. So if we were like, let's see Texas, and while we're there, this will be part of it. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. Like, we see like Legoland and stuff like that, and they try to get people. They have a hotel there to get people to come out. I don't know how much people really travel for it versus just regional parks. So I think it'll be really. I'm more like interested to see if it's
Yeah.
successful or not than anything else. And maybe it is just like a very successful regional park and it kind of stays small scale. And then they say, well, let's open one in California or in Florida.
Sure.
Or something,
I mean, I totally could see that,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think it's something like, if you're within 5-hour drive, that's something to consider for like a weekend or something else. Like a lot of like the Legolands and everything
exactly.
else like around the country. All right, let's get into some construction updates, right? So there's a lot of pictures from BioReconstruct, and I'm just going to go through some of these, and we're going to pause to kind of remark on some things that we noticed in some of these images that are there. So in the Magic Kingdom, the only thing that's an update is like Rivers of America and Piston Peak are. I got to start referencing Rivers of America because it's not a river anymore. It's now Piston Peak as an update, but like things are changing. Right. So I have a link to a picture in there. Their bio had like probably 10 of them that are from various different angles. Right. So a couple things that I noticed, Phil, is there are, and I don't know if this was always like this or they started doing work, but there's sections of the boat track that are missing.
Mm-hmm.
Was that all one continuous track before, or were there always segments kind of?
No, it was one continuous track. They've removed some of the segments. Yeah.
That's what I thought. So I wanted to double check that. And I think last week we were talking about the demo. There is nothing left on the island as structure. It's only trees. So now we probably have to listen to what we called a couple weeks ago. Like we did it over and under or before and after for like one of the trees going to start going.
Yeah.
That would be the next step, right? Because like the track could come up pretty quickly, I would imagine. They've already started doing that. There's no demo left. Removing the debris. They're getting rid of all the cement from all those
the tunnels and stuff.
Yeah,
last I saw they were still working on that, but I mean that shouldn't take too much longer now that they're going full bore on it.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's really interesting. And the one thing, Phil, let me know if you agree with me or not, that there was an image. It's not the one that I've linked, but there was an image kind of from like over the castle where you're now looking from the vantage point for Fantasyland, looking out over Piston Peak towards Big Thunder Mountain, right? So from that angle, it's a pretty big space, right?
Yeah.
Like you could like, to me, always like, yeah, it's just like over the lake. It's not much, but when you look at it, that's a gigantic piece of real estate that they could do a lot with.
Yeah.
Did you find that? Did you always like have that in your head from a perspective in your mind, like it is a lot of space, or were you like me where it was like, oh, that's bigger than I thought once everything, the water's gone and stuff like that?
I'd say like I always like knew it was, I guess it's kind of both, right? It's like I knew it was a big space when you I've mapped it out on Google Maps several times, but like, yeah, when you see these images and you see the water drained and okay, it's not just the island footprint, it's the island footprint plus where the water was. And then when you see it next to like Big Thunder Mountain, which is a huge like plot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you could fit like 3 Big Thunders in it or whatever, like it's a lot of real estate that it took up. So yeah, it makes it even more understandable why executives were like, we could do more with this area.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I'm just like, if you just look at it and where you got on the raft by Big Thunder to take it over to Tom Sawyer's Island. I mean, to me, that always seemed like just like a short hop.
Yeah.
But I didn't measure it in Google Maps, but it's like 70 yards or so. Like there's a lot of space for that. And to me, it's really interesting. Another thing I noticed in the picture is where the railroad bridge would turn to allow like the boat, the Liberty Bell, to go in and out. So like that's all filled in, or not filled in, but completely drained. And there's basically now a road to where all the laydown yards are at this point. So you can clearly see that it's easy to get in and out with like a wide range of like trucks that could get in there and stuff like that. I'm super excited to see all this stuff go because it's done. We're doing things. I can't wait to see what's coming out of this. Do you still think that the trees, like, to me, like let's talk about the trees. Like, how are they getting rid of them? Are they like going to dig them all up? They're going to transplant them? Because that's typically what Disney does. They don't destroy trees unless it's the ones outside the park and the lay down yards. I would imagine they got rid of some of them, but like, do you think that we're going to see a slow progress in that? Or like, are we going to notice that like one day, like a huge chunk of trees are like gone out of there?
I think it'll be a mixture of both. I think they'll go through and kind of like the trees that are in good shape and are like worth quote unquote worth saving, they'll tag and like dig out and remove one by one. But I'm sure there's also going to be a swath of like it's not worth saving these type things or whatever that'll just get cleared through. So I think we'll see a mixture of both, where like one day we'll see like a crane, I'm sure there'll be footage of people like with a crane taking out a tree and stuff like that. And then, like you said, all of a sudden another swath of bioreconstruct photos will come out and the whole section will be empty or whatever and that sort of thing. So I think it'll be a mixture.
So the first Tom Sawyer Island section, right?
Yeah.
Where we go, which is what they have to remove because that's all of Piston Peak.
Yep.
Do you think that will be clear by the end of November?
Yeah.
So it's all going to be dirt, right? You're thinking it's all going to be dirt?
Yeah.
I agree with you. Okay, so let's make it a little bit more difficult. Halfway through November, do you think it's going to be gone? So basically, in the next 3 weeks, is it going to be clear?
I think it'll be, if not fully clear, almost.
Okay.
I think they're moving.
I like that optimism. I agree too. I think they want to get them all out.
I'm interested to see what it'll look like when I'm down there in 2.5 weeks. Like,
that's a good point. We're gonna have to take some videos and put them out on social media to check it out.
Try to ride Big Thunder Mountain with my hand up on my phone, trying to take video.
Yeah, we'll see. See if you can get. You can't really get good shots from. You know what? The one place that you can get good pictures from is the Harbor House.
Yeah, the second floor. Yeah.
So you might have to stop there and get some beverages. Okay, so the next one here we're going to talk about, I got to find my construction list here, is in Hollywood Studios. There's a couple interesting things. They started demo in animation. We mentioned that last week, but now it's pretty significant. The arch is now down, right? Yep. However you want to say it. So basically everything is ripped up in that pavilion. You can kind of see the arch is gone. Only the foot plates, like the footers for it, are there. They tore down what looks to be all the awnings and everything else from the Disney Junior building. Like everything is gone.
Yeah, the big sign marquee that said Star Wars Launch Bay is down.
The sign is gone, absolutely. All the walls are now up. So, what do you think about the arch being down, Phil? How do you view that space? What are your opinions on that?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely like sort of a significant movement for the park. It was there from the beginning. It was there to signify when you were going from kind of on stage, the Hollywood part of the land, to the working studio part. Like that was kind of the delineation between that. Obviously, that's not really necessarily there anymore with the park. So it's kind of significant that it's gone. I'm looking forward to it being more open. I know they're going to put like a new sign that mimics more the current version that's out in Burbank. So I think overall I'm for it. I think it helps signify the scale of this change. But it is kind of significant. And I did wonder on the side parts of it, they had these carved like frescoes that were really, really beautiful. I did asked I think I asked Drew when he was if he knew if those were saved or not, and as far as he knows, he doesn't know. And the fact that we don't know if they were saved makes me think they probably weren't, which is kind of a bummer. But obviously, you can't save everything, and I get it. So I'm excited about it. It felt like, wow, this is really moving forward. Like this is in high gear now that went down. And the other thing, it feels like these types of things, they seem to be like, we're getting it all down in one night. Like like it didn't go down in sections. It was just like it was there and then it wasn't.
Yeah, they don't want a bunch of bloggers like lamenting the loss of like a next little thing, because there's some people like, oh, this is terrible. They're taking down the arch. I'm like, this park is such a mismatch of like themes that like this. I hope this is temporary and this space gets revitalized to something interesting. There was another shot, Phil, like looking, and I think it was a flyover by Bio in one of the new videos. By the way, go to Bio Reconstruct's YouTube channel, and he has like these little 30-second like videos of him like videoing everything as he's taking the pictures. And there was a shot of the launch bay's whole entire building plus the building behind it, which is the actual working studio or what used to be.
Yeah, what used to be. Yeah.
There's so much open space here. I'm just like, I'm very excited for a decade from now to see if like this has any major changes to it. Because I imagine if something like this has like a 5 or 6 years lifespan, there's so much space back there, and I can't wait to see how they kind of configure some of these things. And the other thing I noticed, Phil, is how big the Disney Junior building is, and how much of a facade like the restaurant has and everything else that like it's not going to get any major theming with this update. I'm just really curious to see like if it ever gets some interesting theming. I mean, that building's big enough. You could put a dark ride in there if you really
Oh,
wanted
for sure.
to.
Yeah. I mean, supposedly it'll get an updated Disney Junior type show. Whether Bluey goes in there, who knows? But hopefully, like, I don't think it'll get major retheming, but hopefully it makes it a little bit like everything looks a little more cohesive together.
So the other update in Hollywood Studios is we've been talking about this for weeks. There is a lot of construction going on in the area between Star Wars Galaxy's Edge leading into Toy Story Land, namely right outside the Aliens Ruling Saucers entrance. So directly across from it, by the bathroom entrance, there's like a good size area where they're going to put like a snack stand. I guess it looks like a permanent snack stand.
Yep.
There is like a Tinker Toy kind of coming out of there. Was that something that was already there? And
I'm not sure.
Remembering it properly, but
yeah.
it looks new-ish, but I don't know. So,
Yeah.
And then opposite that, alongside Aliens Ruling Saucers, there's looks like some footing for a snack stand, but it looks like I can't get too much out of it. But again, a lot of walls going in on this.
Yeah.
So what do you take from these images as far as space used and all this other stuff? Is there any major takeaways that you might have, Phil?
I just think it's like this was viewed as underused area. I mean, it is a big, like, long walk from Galaxy's Edge to here, and we know that Woody's lunchbox is usually overcrowded and that sort of thing. I think this is just to help supplement that and have other areas for people to grab some snacks and hopefully some seating area and hopefully some shade. So I think it's just to there was room for something here, and I think we can monetize it a little bit and help take some congestion away from Woody's. So
I mean, there's a lot of stuff there's a lot of space that's walled off. Do you think they're just giving construction some space because there is so much space, or do you think they're going to be utilizing it with whatever that they're doing there?
I think it's just to allow the room for the construction vehicles and whatever they're doing, and then they'll repave it, and like I said, maybe some seating areas, some more like semi-permanent type seating looking.
Yep. Okay. I think we have one other thing that I saw that I want to make note at, or two more things. The Star Cruiser permits for demo has been registered, and they're going to be changing it to Imagineering office spaces over there. So I think there was an article like the last sign was removed,
the last
the highway or something.
The last roadway sign that said directions to the Star Cruiser finally came down.
So we're going to see it change into office. I wonder if we'll get any pictures on the inside, or they're just going to nah, we're just going to let that one kind of quiet.
I don't know. It'd be interesting. I mean, maybe the front lobby, if it really becomes I don't know, almost like the really exciting part of Imagineering, where it's kind of like a fun, Imagineering working lab type thing or something. Maybe they'll do a little video about it. I don't know. If it's just offices, that we'll never see it. But
there's some really cool looking offices.
Yeah, probably.
And the last one is the roadway, the Floridian Way outside the Grand Flow and the Polynesian. You can start seeing some of those roundabouts really take effect. More pictures from Bio. Not that there's always been construction there. It's not anywhere near being complete, but you can start seeing it kind of take form. And I guess usually people that drive on property are really the only ones that are going to be able to tell. If you're there and you're taking on property transport, you would never know the difference for a lot of this stuff. So, but I think it allows for infrastructure in that area for the predicted other additional hotel that's going somewhere over there. But we'll see on that. So I think that's all the construction updates I have for this week, but a lot of cool stuff going on. So if you're not following Bio Reconstruct at all, great follow. And he's pumping out pictures left and right at this moment because things.
And I do try to put and other people do. I know Weezy does and stuff. If there's something interesting, we'll put it into the news thread or the Disney chat thread on our Discord server. Because sometimes Bio can be a little overwhelming, where all of a sudden you log into Twitter and there's 500 posts from him. Yeah.
Well, it's not spam, but it's
not
a
spam,
lot, right?
Yes, it's a lot.
It's a lot. So check all those out. They're really cool. Okay, so we're gonna get on to the main event for the show. I'm very, very excited about this, Phil. You're doing some trip prep. You have a spreadsheet. I saw on Discord that your daughter is also having a prep spreadsheet. You must be very proud, which is really awesome. So why don't you remind everybody the time? We all know that you're going down because of your daughter's orchestra. You have that event going on. And you've got a pretty decent, what are we going out for 6 days or so?
Yeah. So we fly down
travel time.
Yeah, we fly down late Thursday and then back the following Tuesday. So 6 days technically, but it's 4 full days down there.
Before we get to the day-to-day and we talk about strategy with your debut of Park Hoppers, why don't you lay down the goals of the trip and what you want to accomplish or what you want to plan for or plan against, and then we'll go to the day-to-day stuff.
Yeah, so I tried to think about, well, what do we want to, or what do I want to accomplish here? And not just like in my head, it wasn't just get on this ride, get, the things we do all the time. It's like, well, what's going to be unique or potentially unique about this trip that I want to do? I asked my family. I don't think they fully understood the assignment. The rest, because so my oldest daughter will be with her orchestra group and stuff. She won't be with us, so it's just the other two kids. I asked my wife, and she said she wants to go on all of her favorite rides, which is Living with the Land, People Mover, and Grand Fiesta Tour. My son, his priority is getting on Tron, which means we'll have to either see how crowds are. I might have to buy the individual lightning lane. We'll
just
see.
buy the lightning lanes and just pull off the Band-Aid.
But it's definitely one I wanted to do too, because it'll have the Aries overlay, which I definitely want to check out. And then my daughter, her favorite ride, she wants to get on Space Mountain, so we will make sure to do that. I had a much longer list of things that I wanted to do. These are things that I'd like to get accomplished. One is that because we have park hopping, we've never done the 4 parks in one day, so I want to do that one day.
Okay. Godspeed.
We have the three days. I'm hoping to get to Epcot each of those 3 days and have at least one thing from a food booth.
Oh, okay.
Each of the 3 days. Specifically, I want to try the Goizas of the Galaxy. That wasn't open last time we were there. We know we've been reporting on it, all the different chicken fingers and cold brews. So I want to at least try one of each of those.
Okay.
We have the new Zootopia Better Together show will open right when we get there. So I definitely want to see that.
I can't wait for her to see. Like I'm fully ready to get spoilers, right? So in Discord, please lay on the spoilers. Obviously, label them for the other people, but I'm definitely going to be asking you all sorts of stuff like that on the show.
Now that Spaceship Earth is updated, that they have the soft openings now, but it was closed last time I was down with my wife, so we want to ride that. Theoretically, if we have time, I want to say goodbye again to Dinosaur and to Restaurantosaurus.
Do you really need to say goodbye to Dinosaur? I thought like my kids were going to be so excited when we went down to say goodbye to Dinosaur. They're like, it needs to go. I'm like, man, that was just did not flat out care at all about that attraction.
I mentioned it to the rest of the family, and they were like, "Do we have to do that?" I'm like, okay. So I don't know. So we might do that. One thing which, if we're in Animal Kingdom in the morning, potentially more than once, I'd like to do the breakfast at Satuli. We've never done that, and that's around still. I put on here a new thing is say goodbye to Remy in 3D.
Okay.
So the first 2 days of that we have tickets, the Saturday and Sunday. And then it closes on Monday. So I figure if we have a chance to do it in Epcot one of those 2 days, did make me wonder if on the last day, if they'll let us keep the 3D glasses or anything like that. But
they didn't do that at Muppets.
Yes, I don't know. I know some people are like, they were just taking them, or the CMs were like looking the other way or whatever. I don't know. It'd just be, I don't know if I've ever been on the last day of a ride. It's not really the closure of the ride. It's just the version of the ride. And also they announced that the Jingle Cruise will be up and running while we go. So I do want to ride that. So those are my goals. Obviously a little bit more substantial and a little bit more about the theming of the trip with having the hoppers and stuff than maybe some of my family.
So I like right out of the gate, I love that you're taking the adventure of 4 parks in one day. I think this is very fun to do. I've done it twice. I've done it with my wife, and I did it with my whole family, including my mother on the way down. So it's definitely doable. Obviously, you have to get started early in the day. Well, technically you don't, but if you want to actually get things done in each park and feel like you've done stuff, you got to start very early. I'd love the idea of you creating an achievement where you want to get to Epcot every day and also eat something different every single day at one of the food booths. I think that's great. And it's also not something like you're really pushing like outside the bounds of vacation in the vacation type of thing. Like it's an easily achievable thing to go in and just get a little taste of Epcot. Even if you go in, have something to eat, walk around for a hot minute, and then like kind of leave to go on to wherever you want to go next. Yeah. I think that's really cool. I find it very funny that we're saying goodbye to Restaurantosaurus. I can never pronounce that restaurant, but like you're going to be able to get the food over in Ramen Market the next time you go there, apparently.
Well, the one thing I saw was one of the chicken fingers that I'm kind of interested in is at Restaurantosaurus. So I was like, I can knock off 2 birds with 1 stone.
The one thing I did go in there when I was there almost a year ago now with my wife and our Don't Only trip is I went in there and I took pictures of those paintings by Joe Rohde that are in there. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a really cool thing to do. If you're there before it closes, go check out some of those original artwork by Joe Rohde. It's like the really big pictures in the dining room that are kind of like above the door. I think those are really cool. So worth checking it out. I see you have here Try Satuli's breakfast on here. I've been trying to do that the last couple trips. I failed miserably to do that. So hopefully you can kind of check that out. So let's go into the day by day now. So what do you've got planned?
Yeah, so Thursday, November 6th is we fly down. We have a late flight that night. That's just, how things worked out the cheapest. We don't land in at MCO until about 10:30 at night, assuming no delays. We will be picking up a rental car. We'll have a rental car for this trip, and then drive over to like just a hotel right off outside of the airport that we're just using points and just staying there for the night and that sort of thing. Because we're not really fully checking in to our Disney resort, which we're just staying at All Star Sports until Friday, November 7th. So that day is obviously we'll wake up, have breakfast at the hotel, and then the first thing is going to Disney Springs because that's where my daughter's orchestra is playing at 11 a.m. at the amphitheater there. So that'll be the first thing we do.
How long is her performance?
You know what? I'm not sure. I think it's like a half hour-ish or something like that. It's not.
So you should be done with everything at Disney Springs if you wanted to be by like 1-2 o'clock. That time frame.
So
right?
we'll see what we want to do if we want to like check out the stores, if we're going to eat lunch there, or what we're going to do. Because the other thing we want to get accomplished there is because we have our water park perk that day is then get to the water park, which will be Typhoon Lagoon. So we'll see if our room is ready. If not, we'll probably just go right to Typhoon Lagoon and change into.
Are you driving this time all over the place, or are you doing
so
resort transport?
So we'll have a rental car this time. So at least part of it is because of needing to get to Disney Springs to see my daughter and then getting to the water park.
Gotcha.
So these first couple days we'll be using the card. We probably won't be using it much after that, but we got a good rate on it and it was useful. And it's like once you start adding in a few Ubers and stuff like that, it balances out. It balances out. Yep. So depending on timing, it's either checking into All Star Sports or going to Typhoon Lagoon, and then come back after that, kind of rest up at the resort. Currently, we have a dinner reservation for Bourbon Steak. We wanted to try that out, but that was more when we were going to be staying at the Swan. That was initially where we were going to be booked until we got the bounce back offer that kind of saved about half the price. We still have it. We might still do it.
That's going to be tough going from All Stars to the Swan.
Yeah.
Without this being on the Skyliner and everything.
Yeah, I think we'll have to see about driving over, but then I'm like, wait, can I just park there for free if I'm driving over to eat there and stuff? So I got to kind of figure things out. So that's still kind of a tentative. We just don't we're interested in trying it. We don't know when we'll be back, but it might not work out. If we do stay there, the plan was after dinner to kind of hang around at that kind of the Crescent Lake area, maybe watch the fireworks from there, or else just head back to the resort and kind of chill out there, maybe.
So kind of like up in the air, depending on what you're feeling. So if you don't do the Bourbon Steak, what would be like a secondary thing for your stay there?
So I don't know. It would either be just kind of go back to the All Star Sports and just eat there or whatever at the food court, or maybe go over to like the Polynesian and get like food at Wailulu and watch the fireworks. That night is a Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. We could watch the holiday fireworks, something like that. So those are probably the two things I would think about doing. But that's definitely I definitely have a number of things built into here. It's like, we'll see how the family's doing.
Yeah. You got to remember, if you want to get up and moving, because your next day here is all 4 parks in one day.
Exactly.
You got to be up at like 6 a.m. to get this, get cracking on this, depending on what your motivations are for all 4 parks in one day. So so now it's Saturday. It's all 4 parks in one day. Jollywood at Hollywood Studios that night. What do you want to accomplish? Like everybody has their own version of 4 parks in one day. Like some people, it's like you step foot in one park and you have a drink in each park, and I've done it. Some people have to go on separate rides. Some are like a lot of people have different motivations. What that counts. So what are you trying to get done in 4 parks in one day to make it like?
So I will say this: the idea here is this is kind of going to be when we do the most of Animal Kingdom. It's mostly going to be our Animal Kingdom day, and then hop into the other 3 parks through the end of the day. Magic Kingdom is open till 11 p.m. that night, so we do have kind of a long day that if we want to spend the whole day doing that stuff.
Okay.
I think we're going to come up with a criteria amongst our family what qualifies. For me, I think you have to ride at least one ride in each park for it to count as hopping to it. Whether you have to do anything else in addition to it, get something to eat or whatever.
Phil, you need to have an adult beverage at each one of the parks as well.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that was part of my stipulation, so I have to imprint that onto you now. That's just kind of.
I'll do what I can.
You get a very nice coffee with an adult dollop of something special in it at Animal Kingdom. I've done that before.
All right. Well, I can definitely do it. We'll definitely be doing it at Animal Kingdom. I enjoy adult beverages there for sure. But yeah, so the plan is actually to get Lightning Lane multipass this day too.
Okay.
To try to knock out things as quick as we can.
And it's the cheapest if you go to Animal Kingdom to start off.
That is part of the plan is that we start the earliest in the day. Although Magic Kingdom's also open at 8 a.m. that day, but we'll start at 8 a.m. Animal Kingdom opens. That'll be our Lightning Lane. It'll also be day 2 of Better Zoothether. So we figure we'll try to I don't know how popular that'll be, but day 2, I figure might be good to have a lightning lane for that, and for Navi River and the safari and stuff like that.
So, are you going to try to crank out as much as you possibly can in Animal Kingdom for rides?
Yeah, it'll be mostly for the rides. Probably won't do the shows that day unless there's something people really want to do, or we need a break. If it's really hot, we need a break or something like that. But it's mostly going to be like, let's use the lightning lanes to get through the number of the rides we want to, but also knowing we'll start not stacking, but like picking rides for the parks we're going to be hopping to as well with the lightning lane.
Now, when you're doing the multipass with park hopping, I just want to set expectations, not warn you, but set expectations. It's hard to juggle the times to do that. So you might be like, you cycle through all of the ones that you have in Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
I would recommend you get the 2 that you want or the 3 that you want right off the bat. And immediately if you use the first one, start booking what Hollywood Studios. It looks like that's what you're going to
I think
next.
that's the plan. Yeah.
And then just start doing it that way. Now, I think you have a good day. Like you're ending at lunch at Restaurantsaurus over here. The 2 times that I've done this with my family is we left Animal Kingdom. This was a couple years ago, and we went to Sanaa for lunch.
Okay.
So we left Animal Kingdom at 11, and we didn't get to Hollywood Studios till 2 because at that time you couldn't cop until 2 o'clock anyway. And I still was able to do the rest of the parks very comfortably as well. Right? We did a very quick Hollywood Studios, and then with my family last year, I think we left around 11 o'clock, and we had some fun at Hollywood Studios also with a quick rest back at our resort as well with that. So you do have plenty of time. So don't feel like you're panicking towards the end of your Animal Kingdom segment that you have to go on. You have plenty of time to do everything else. But you go to Hollywood Studios. What is your plan there then?
So for the rest of the day, we don't necessarily have specific plans. It'll be like, well, what do we want to get? What can we get a lightning lane for? That would be a good ride. Where do we want to get it? A drink or food or something like that. I'm thinking maybe something like Mickey and Minnie's, where we don't have to go too far into the park and that sort of thing.
That's what we did. Yep.
So that's the plan for Hollywood Studios, and then we'll take the Skyliner over to Epcot. Again, we'll see what we can get a lightning lane for. Probably won't get any of the big rides, but we could get Soarin' or something like that, or even Living with the Land. And we'll do the Epcot food and wine booths for dinner. And then we will hop over to Magic Kingdom later because we want to make sure these first 2 days are the only days available to us to see Happily Ever After, because the third day is another holiday party. I'm sure it'll be crowded and that sort of thing, but we'll probably go in again, do one ride that we can get a lightning lane for. Maybe we'll, do the Tron or something like that, watch Happily Ever After, and then head out.
So my advice, you go to Hollywood Studios. Let's say you get there right around like 1 o'clock or so.
Yep.
You go in, you do one ride, you walk out, maybe get a snack, something to eat, something to drink, whatever that might be. You Skyliner over to Epcot. The Skyliner takes about, I want to say, 16 to 20 minutes, depending on lines and everything else like that. So you get a nice little ride over there. You could get into Epcot by about like 2:30.
Yep.
You don't have to walk to the front of the park until about 6:30 to get over to Magic Kingdom. If you're just trying to do fireworks, and then maybe you do your ride after the fireworks since you close so late. So you have some play in Hollywood Studios and Epcot. So it really depends where you want to do some things. Like, do you want to take this time to do, like, maybe you come in through International Gateway, you hit whatever food booth that you want, and then you work your way to the front, and you can then bang out like Living with the Land and Soarin' and Spaceship Earth, some of the targets that you might have for that part of the park.
Yeah.
And then go over to Magic Kingdom, and then because we don't know if you're coming back to Magic Kingdom at all because of like parties and all the other busyness that might be there. Like, do you want to spend more time at Magic Kingdom? So it really depends on what you want to do. But I would say make sure you're out of the park at Epcot by 6:30 to comfortably make it. And that's give or take like 20 minutes or so, and figure out how much. The key to the whole thing is how long do you stay in Hollywood Studios, right? Do you dip your toe in, or do you do a handful of things? That's kind of how you're vibing at the time.
Yep.
But time wise, I would be leaving Hollywood Studios by like around 2:30 or so, and leaving Epcot by 6:30, assuming that you want to spend more time at Epcot since it's your favorite park than Hollywood Studios. So that would be my thing. The fact that you can leave Magic Kingdom by 11, I don't think I have to tell you that's you're now at the park for 5 hours or 15 hours at that point. So it might be kind of interesting, but I think you have a good plan. It's how I've done it identically, order of parks and that type of thing. I think you're going to have a great time. take it easy.
Yep.
That's all, right?
I mean, I think
Take
that's
it easy.
kind of our plan, is to not overdo it at any one park. Maybe a little bit more in the morning to try to get done what we can at Animal Kingdom, but otherwise it's like, yeah, take it easy and kind of just have fun with it, for lack of I was talking to my wife today and she's like, yeah, we haven't done that. That sounds fun. Like, she's kind of getting into it and
Yep,
that sort of
cool.
thing. So I think it should be fun.
You need as much buy-in as you possibly can by your whole family to
Yeah.
do this, or it's going to be like you're just going to be dragging those kids around.
Yeah, I think the one who might be the least into it is my son, who like he prefers, like, he's like, he would prefer if we were only doing Vacation in the Vacation the entire time. So I might have to bribe him with a little something. Maybe our ride will be the Speedway or something like that, which is one of his favorite rides. So
Okay.
we'll see.
I would just threaten my children, like, you can stay at the hotel room. That's it. I will go have fun and you stay here. Take care. See ya. Bye. But that's just me. So what is your next? So you have your Sunday, and what you have a couple things here, but like nothing really.
Yeah. So
huge.
The next day is I'm calling it our flex day. It's sort of, if we didn't get everything done at Animal Kingdom we wanted to, we could go there in the morning. I'm thinking it'll be mostly Epcot and Hollywood Studios that day, but we'll again take it by ear on what we want to get done. The only things we have set, and I'm not going to use all these, but we did book between Sunday and Monday. We have 4 Beacon Barrel reservations.
Okay.
I definitely won't be using all of them, but maybe we'll use one each day or something like that, because I'm not sure if one time will be enough to really, when you're limited to 45 minutes and that sort of thing. So I think this day maybe, yeah, unless we want to start again at Animal Kingdom, we'll probably start at Epcot and kind of maybe do Remy, or just kind of get done what we want to do, and probably have lunch at Food and Wine Festival, and then go to Magic Kingdom. Maybe if we're going to do one of our Beacon Barrels, then maybe we'll head over to Hollywood Studios to watch Fantasmic. I don't know. We're really kind of up in the air about what we're going to do, but I'm purposely keeping it like kind of as a flex day.
That's kind of how we did our last vacation. Like every day was a flex day. The only thing that guided our path was like where we had dining reservations,
Right,
where we wanted to eat that day. I think you're going to be sleeping in, obviously, that day, right?
I think that's why I was like, well, maybe we'll do Animal Kingdom if we haven't done everything, but I think this is a day we'll sleep in and kind of sleep in and just kind of go with the flow. And if it started at Epcot, it started at Epcot. If it's, let's just go to like almost skip the morning and go to Magic Kingdom for a Beacon Barrel and then head to Epcot or Hollywood Studios. I don't know. We'll kind of play it by ear on what we want to do this day.
Yeah, I mean,
but
I think,
especially if we stay out till 11 the night before, I'm sure we'll sleep in this day. So.
yeah, I think the most fun thing to do is to wake up and be like, I'm at Disney World. The whole resort is my oyster. What do we want to do today? And kind of draw a plan. So I'm going to be really interested in 2 inflection points from your trip report. Is when do you wake up? When do you go? How do you make the decision on what direction to go to?
Yep.
Right. I wouldn't let, I see you got a 145 and a 445 for Beacon Barrel. I wouldn't let like one of those dictate, like, I have to go here first because I have to make this time.
No, definitely.
Because like one of the things that I did not like from my trip is having those reservations, those ADRs, like 5, 6, 8 hours ahead, really dictate like how you can vacation in the vacation type of thing, right?
And that's one reason why I've kept the 4. I know it's maybe bad form as a Disney fan to do that, but I will be releasing them if I'm not using them, because I'm like, I don't know when we're like, it'll fit in best. But to have that kind of flexibility. So,
yeah. So I think you're doing 2 good things here with hoppers that I've learned, right? And I'm not somebody this is not a unique experience. A lot of people think about this, but friend to friend here, you're doing the awesome thing 4 parks in one day where it's go, 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 go. And you have a tight schedule of where you want to be at what time generally.
Yeah.
The next day is if you can just somehow just get a vibe for being at Disney World, ignore everything else that's going on around you and just pick a direction and go. It's going to be such a different feeling. It was for me. And I know for you who are used to be like, this is my park day. Here are my ADRs.
Yeah.
Here's what my spreadsheet says, at least the general area where I need to be in, right? I'm really curious what your mindset's going to be when you don't have a general idea of where you need to be, other than I have to be at the Magic Kingdom in a 5-hour window at some point. Oh, by the way, how is the Beacon Barrel availability if you chose to want to go at like a later date? Like, are there openings right now for that?
I hadn't checked in a little while. I had these set for a while, and I was kept monitoring and was able to book them when new things came available and stuff like that. I actually haven't checked. I have seen just periodically new openings would come up. I don't know if it's because they're realizing they can fit more people in, or they're more comfortable with cycling people. I do think a lot of people are probably doing what I'm doing, having multiple reservations and canceling some. So I think day of, I'm seeing a lot of not a lot, but I'm seeing reports of people like, oh, something came up day of and I was able to go
Okay.
and stuff like that. So I don't think it'll be too bad if we wind up canceling, a couple of these if we wanted to get back in again later. But my thought process is I'll probably keep one from each day, but have the flexibility. We'll see.
So Phantasmic is Phantasmic at 9:00 that night.
It's so that night it is. I forget if I checked every night, but when I was looking for at least one other night, it was 8:30, 8 and 9:30.
Okay.
It was
9:30.
twice a night. Yeah.
So one piece of advice, because we did this one night where me and my kids and my wife and my mom stayed back.
Yeah.
We hoofed it over to Hollywood Studios just to see Phantasmic on
Yeah.
one of our last nights there. Because this is the day after your 15-hour journey across property, and as you know, that is a very long walk to go into the park and then up to Tower of Terror and then all the way back to Phantasmic, sit there for an hour and a half, and then hoof it all the way out of the park, right? So I personally would say, because I see your plans for the next day, we should get to them because we're now over the hour mark on the show. Phantasmic, it's fine, but you should just kind of because I think it'd be best if you were to go to you go to Epcot or you do the temptation's going to be there for you to do 3 parks on this day because you got the taste of being able to go all over the place. But I would try to maybe do you go over to Epcot, you have lunch, you head over to the Magic Kingdom, and you do Happily Ever After, I think, and maybe. Actually, no, I wouldn't do it that way because you would have seen Happily Ever After the night before,
as of now,
right?
the plan is to see it. I mean, not to say we can't see it again if that's what people want to do, or we could go back to Epcot or watch Luminous. And I'll be honest, Phantasmic, I really enjoy it, but we've also seen it kind of a lot recently.
And is your oldest going to be with you on this day?
No. So she's going to be she's going to be off on her own, and it will absolutely she'll be doing it. But since she's not with us, it's not like we have to do it type thing. So unless we're in Hollywood Studios anyway, I wouldn't do what you did where you hopped over just to do Phantasmic. It would be if we want to do other stuff in Hollywood Studios.
Okay, yeah, I mean that makes it because we had to do it because we that was our last shot to see it, so that's why we kind of did that. I wouldn't put it past you. I'm just going to put some stuff I like to build scenarios like what if, and think about the logistics before we do it because that's how my brain is broken. I wouldn't say it would be a bad day if you did Epcot. You wake up, you go over to Epcot, you do some lunch, you do some booths, you do some shopping, you do some of the things that you didn't get to do the day before, make your wife happy. Monorail it over to the Magic Kingdom, do your Beacon Barrel, do Speedway, make your son happy, and then monorail it back to Epcot and end the day there also. Kind of go back and forth. Yeah. Your son loves the monorail, right? So he's going to be
we definitely could do that. Yeah. And have Beacon Barrel for some drinks and stuff, but then we have kind of a later snacks at another food booths and stuff like that for
I mean, one of the things I really liked is hopping back and forth between 2 different parks and kind of sandwiching things into place because it's you can't go back to the park after leaving it and coming back. Your brain might not think that all right, I did that park already, cross it off and go to the next one. You can come back because why not? So think about that flexibility. I like that. So what is your last park day here? Because I know your last day is really just early morning travel to get back home.
Yeah. So our last park day, it's the day that there is a Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. So my thought process is the bulk of our day is going to be at Magic Kingdom in the morning because usually days that there is the party is a light crowd day. And I'm hoping we can get a lot done that day at Magic Kingdom and then stay till our Beacon Barrel reservation, have one or both of them. And then again, hop to either Epcot and or Hollywood Studios probably, and again end the day with food and wine and maybe Luminous or Phantasmic. I do have a curveball that could get thrown in there. They just recently announced that for the Friday, November the 7th, their Animal Kingdom will be open till 8 p.m. If they extend the hours to Animal Kingdom, say on that Monday, I might hop to Animal Kingdom after Magic Kingdom and try to do some more things at Animal Kingdom at night. See Pandora at night, see, the Tree of Life at night and stuff like that. And then either we just end our day there, we're tired and that's it. We're going to go back to the resort. Maybe I take a bus from Animal Kingdom to the Polynesian and watch the fireworks from the beach there. I don't know. I don't think I would do it because right now it's only open till 6. I don't think I would bother hopping to Animal Kingdom if it's only open till 6. But
no, I don't think it's worth the time.
But if they extend it to 7 or 8, I think that could be an interesting wrinkle to do.
Do you have any desire to say I've saw all 3 nighttime spectaculars, or that's not important to you and your family?
Not especially, no.
Okay. I like how your last day is kind of another flex day, right? Like you definitely want to hit up Magic Kingdom early because of the crowds.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a lot of evidence of that on during the holiday party, maybe the Halloween party season. But I hope it is. You can get a decent amount done if you start your day early. I think you can knock out a lot of favorites. Do you think you'd go to the Beacon Barrel twice in one trip?
My plan is to go twice, whether we do it 2 times in one day or once each on 2 days. I do want to get there twice because you're limited to the 45 minutes. You're limited to 2 drinks. I want to see as many effects and stuff like that. And again, we don't know when we're going to be back again. So I want to do it. So my goal is we have 4. My goal is to use 2 of the 4.
So if you do your heavy,
unless we go there the first day and everyone hates it or for whatever reason, right, that sort of thing. But my expectation is that we will like it and want to, or at least some of us will want to go back for a second.
So you're doing a fun Magic Kingdom day, end it with Beacon Barrel, potentially hop over to Epcot to do some Epcot things. If you head over to Fantasmic, what would be your motivation to get to Hollywood Studios? People just want to do some rides over there.
That's exactly.
Right?
Yep.
So nothing.
My son likes the Skyliner. Do the Skyliner.
Yeah, right. I mean, I love this trip for you. I think you're gonna have a lot of fun, and I think it's gonna change. I can't wait to your post trip report because we're gonna have a segment like, yes, you're gonna go through your whole day and do all that type of stuff, but my main focus when I interrogate you for your trip report when you get back is like, what is your mindset constantly knowing that you have all these options that you've never had before? How that affected, like, did you get antsy after lunch? Did you just chill because you knew you could just do whatever? Because like that mindset changes when you're there. You're like, all right, this is my Magic Kingdom day. I better get everything done or I'm not going to get a chance to get back. Like, what are you thinking? Like their second flex day, meaning like I could go there tomorrow or, whatever. Kind of changes how you do.
I'm hoping that's what it has, and not just for me, but for my family too. Be like, that's what I'm saying. Like maybe we'll wind up going back to Animal Kingdom at some point if like we didn't do any of the shows and somebody really wants to see, Festival of the Lion King or whatever. So my one hope is that my family speaks up when I ask them, like, okay, what else do you want to do? Like we haven't gotten that. Do you want to go back here? Like sometimes I feel like they're like, they get overwhelmed like with the choices and stuff like that. And I don't want to overwhelm them with that. But at the same time, I want them to speak up and be like, hey, I know we already were at Animal Kingdom, but I really want to do Expedition Everest again, or, whatever it is, like, let me know.
You're barking up the right tree there. Like what I always did was, hey, I know what I wanted to do, but obviously I can't pull everybody along with me. Sometimes I did, but like, other things would be like, hey, do you want to go to Hollywood Studios and do this, this, and this? Or do you want to go to Animal Kingdom and do this and kind of like open those things, but like steer them and like, what do you want to do? Open question mark. But like, do you
give them some suggestions?
Choices like, let's do this, this, or this. Unless you have a better idea, but let's pick through these different things. People love choosing between things rather than open-ended. So I think you're doing good. All right, before we close out the show, let's do our DBC engagement from last week, which was 3 essential things that you pack for your Disney trip. Or things that you potentially could buy on property, but these are not like dinners. These are not attractions. These are not experiences that you do, but like items that you bring along with you. I know Gene had the best one, but let's start at the top. Phil, why don't you start listening them?
Sure. So I heard a maniac said sunscreen, a bottle of water, like an empty bottle of water, a water bottle that he would then fill up, and then he'd lump 2 together, a smartphone and charger. So I think that's kind of pretty common things that everyone needs to have. But
strong.
Not everyone remembers sunscreen.
One of the things for sunscreen, I think you brought it up a couple times, is you can get little spray ones. I mean, obviously they're for one application, but you could buy small ones so you're not carrying like, the foot long giant spray on suntan lotion.
Yep. Mama 6 says Band-Aids for blisters, Advil for headaches, and then a portable charging brick that I think is becoming more and more common, that people just have to have them pretty much everywhere.
And she's at the Grand Floridian right now, enjoying her vacation.
So far,
hopefully she remembered to bring these 3 things with her, right?
So far, so good for their trip. They were having a great time so far. So
great picture.
She was showing some photos from the kids sitting at the Grand Floridian watching the fireworks, and they could see the monorail from their room and stuff. So they're having a great time. Gene L with the best one, of course, especially if you're staying at DVC, is a wine opener.
Oh gosh, yes.
Also said a charging hub for the room and a charging brick for the park. So obviously she needs her electronic devices charged, but she needs herself maybe mellowed out with some wine.
Yes. No, I mean, the wine opener is nothing like all the wine bottles that if you buy them on property, I believe they're almost all twist offs at this point where you don't need a cork and whatever. But if you have a car there and you bring your own wine, or you want to go shopping and, bring your own for whatever. You will need a wine key of some sort. I've done that before and forgotten that. And there are some ways to open up a wine bottle with a fork and everything else like that. It's just not fun.
No.
And it's more just, I think you could actually go to like the front desk.
I think
they
they probably have
them
something,
to get
yeah.
them for you. The big one also is the charging hub.
Yeah.
If you travel by yourself or just like with a significant other, it's not really a big deal. But if you have a larger party with you, at least 4, you all have Magic Band Pluses. So now you need 4 USB ports for the Magic Band Pluses. You need whatever amount of for iPads and phones and whatever else that you might not have. I don't think there's enough USB ports in the room for like 10 things. There might be, but like it gets difficult.
Certainly not the rooms that haven't been refurbed in a while.
Yes. So I bought one. It was like $16-17. It was like a brick with 6 USB ports in that you could plug into a single USB port, and that was enough for all of our Magic Bands. That allowed everything else for whatever. So that is definitely a good one here. TL Madden wrote a novel. What did he say?
Yeah. So he mostly said that they didn't want to list common things that everyone's going to say, like phones and charging bricks, like we said. So he tried to think of some different things. He said a backpack. I think everybody has some sort of bag, either they keep it or not. But he said he'd love to go bagless, but his wife still has to bring stuff and that sort of thing. And then he also needs to have snacks that are in his bag, like granola bars and stuff like that. But one that I thought was unique was he said he'll always have his phone and stuff like that, but he's one of those people that always has to grab a paper map and show guide so that he can look up, have something tangible that he can look at. I would say I don't get a paper map very often, but I do think getting the paper show guides makes that a lot easier to kind of see in one little spot when the different shows are and stuff like that.
I never grab show guides because I never see them to grab them, but I get a paper map every single time I go to the park, not to use, but to like keep as a souvenir. Because remember last week, souvenir was paper map was one of my.
That's true. I'll have to get my one with dinosaur on it or Remy in 3D.
Yeah, got to get me a couple extra ones for that one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take first. So Lumpy had a couple good ones. Water, he prefers a Camelback bladder, so you could always have a big filler water bottle and kind of have one of those like sipping straws that kind of go around there. I always think those are good. Brings an umbrella. I think that's an excellent choice.
Yes.
I just haven't found one that's small enough to fit my bag that's not a nuisance. I know there's plenty out there. I just haven't gotten it. Right. For that, but that's a really good one. A phone. That doesn't really count because we all have our phones on us at all different times. But there's some good ones in here. So we appreciate everybody for participating. If you are watching and listening to this on YouTube and you want to engage in our DBC engagement, please hop on our Discord server and fill it in. However, if you are new to the show and you're not on our Discord, but you're watching this, whether it's from a YouTube short or YouTube our full show on our channel, please go into the comments and list what you think is your answers for our DBC engagement, which for this week, we're going to play a game, Would You Rather? Phil and I will answer these on next week's show. But for everybody out there listening, here are 3 different things. We're going to ask you, would you rather stay on property for 5 days, but have to leave the park before 8 p.m., so no fireworks, or stay 3 days, but be able to stay after 8 p.m. for all those days? You can watch the fireworks and go on more rides later at night, that type of thing. So stay longer, but leave earlier, or stay shorter, but have unlimited access to the parks as usual. The second one is, would you rather go twice a year for a long weekend, like 4 full days, or go on a 1.5 week vacation every 2 years? So do you want a little taste every once in a while, or do you want that really one big long vacation every 2 years? The next one would be, would you rather have Lightning Lane, Multipass, and Single Pass for every day? Well, we're ignoring the cost, so you can maximize those things, but you have to stay off-site at another resort, or no Lightning Lane, Multipass, or Single Pass, so you can't buy any of it, but you get to stay on-site and stay at whatever your favorite hotel might be. We can make that interesting that way. So answer in the comments below, 5 days or 3 days, go for a bunch of long weekends, or go for a big vacation every 2 years, or Lightning Lane, Multipass, but staying off-site, or Lightning Lanes, but no Lightning Lanes, but you get to stay at your favorite resort on property. So answer them below what you think, and we'll read them next week. Phil, is there anything that I forgot to list or say for this week's show?
No, just a reminder of our social media. I don't think you mentioned at the beginning. We're at the DBC Pod pretty much everywhere, whether it's Instagram, X, Facebook, Blue Sky, everywhere, and YouTube.
Very good. And this is now, we're almost at an hour, 20 minutes. This is one of our longest shows. So Weezy, this show's for you. I know you like the long ones. So we appreciate everybody for watching and listening. Make sure you leave a comment, and we'll see you next week.
Take care, everyone.